so proud to be Haitian because just everything about being Haitian is just awesome.
Everyone know about the history of Haiti, first Black independent country in 1804.
Understanding the history of Haiti or Haitian people, you can't help but be proud of the accomplishment that have happened.
Haitian Americans have done really well in the past few years. There's still a lot more work to be done. Only about 20% of us actually have a bachelor's degree.
I understand firsthand some of the challenges that Haitian American students, graduates, and professionals have faced.
Some of them have overcome incredible adversity.
Both immigrated or asylum seekers or refugees.
There are not that many Haitian-focused scholarships, but like any other award, the NAAHP Leadership Award is providing recognition for one's hard work.
As we know, college is expensive, so this scholarship fund provides the chance for a brighter future.
It felt like the universe was speaking, like I needed the money, I was intrigued, people were telling me to apply.
Going to college or graduate school can be very, very expensive. So donating to a scholarship like this would help that expense be more manageable.
Future generation of leaders, scholars, entrepreneurs,
young adults that are trying to make something of their lives.
They are rock stars. They just need the help, and they need us to help them accomplish it.
There's like this Haitian proverb that says, "Mais en pile chat palu," many hands make the load lighter.
Log in and you can donate $10, $25, $50.
It makes me think of the Malcolm X quote that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. It makes me happy to know that our organization is contributing to that goal, preparing others for the future.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Doris, Claslyne, Doris and Pierre, and I am the scholarship coordinator here at the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. Welcome, and we are ready to get started. You'll see that there's a link in the chat box. If you have any questions, please feel free to use that link to submit any questions, any comments, and any concerns that you may have about the scholarship program. All right, ready to get started. And so the session this evening will focus on scholarship application strategies and how to submit an effective scholarship application. And so our goal is to provide you with strategies to assist you in building the strongest application for the 21-22 NAAHP scholarship application. All right, so what about the scholarship? Every year, the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, otherwise known as NAAHP, awards 5 Haitian American scholars with a $1,000 scholarship to continue their education. And so for this year, the timeline, we've opened the application on February 8th, and the application will close on April 19th. And so I urge all of you to submit your applications on time, and we'll talk about that as well towards the end of our presentation this evening or this afternoon. In addition to that, you have to submit your full application. Unfinished applications will not be processed or reviewed. And so we really urge you to make sure you submit your application on time, if not ahead of time. All right. The first step that we'll take now, we'll actually go through the application and some of the things that you need to include as part of your applications. As part of your application, in order for you to be considered for one of the 5 awards that we provide to Haitian American scholars. And so we'll start with the demographic information. All right. So, as you can see here, I've displayed our Haitian American Leadership Award scholarship application. And the first component of our application is your demographic information. And so you start by filling out your demographic information, which includes your full name, your email address. And my tip for you here is to make sure that the name that you are providing us on the application matches the name that your school has for you. And that is very important, okay? And so you'll also add your email address, your phone number, the state that you currently reside in, your city, your full address, your date of birth, as well as your citizenship. And we'll start here with one of the deliverables, one of many deliverables that you have to provide as part of the scholarship application. We'll start with a biography. And so we encourage you to submit a biography that speaks about what you've done, your education, some of the things that are near and dear to your heart. And I would say that on our website, we have some great examples of professional biographies as well as headshot that you can take a quick look at just in case you're having difficulties in writing or determining what should go on your professional biography. And so the reason for this biography is to allow us to get to know you more. And later on, you also get to hear from our committee members. And so the biography allows us to get to know what you've done, who you are, really in just a one-pager. Ideally, I would say to make sure that your biography is 1 to 2 paragraphs. You can have maybe a third one with two to three sentences. But don't make it, so long that we're unable to read your biography fully. All right. So make sure that your biography is concise, straight to the point, and it tells your story, who you are, what you've accomplished, and more. And so at the end of the presentation, I'll also show you guys a couple of examples on our website that you can take a look at if you have any specific questions about that. All right. And so as part of your application, you also have to submit an essay. And so the prompt for this here says, tell us about a situation when you had to overcome barriers and demonstrated leadership to achieve a goal. And so a few quick tips for you when it comes to your essay. I would say to be specific and to stay focused on the topic. So this topic here, we are talking about challenges that you've had to overcome, barriers that you've had to overcome. For some people, it might be a personal story. It might be financial challenges. It might be being a first-generation graduate. And so this is an opportunity for you to take the time to tell us your story, to let us know how you've overcome many things. And as a result of you overcoming whatever the barrier was, you are doing better. Or, you're currently facing challenges, but your challenges doesn't stop here. You want to achieve more in life. And so tell a story through your essay. Or committee members, they do take the time to read each and every single essay that have been submitted as part of your application. So my 3 quick tips for you is to be specific, stay focused on the topic that you are talking about, and make sure that you can tell a story, okay? And so now we have your professional headshot. Again, at the end of the presentation, I will show you guys a few examples of great professional headshots that you can follow. And so for some people that currently, especially during COVID-19, if you don't want to go to a JCPenney or any other studio to take a professional headshot, you can certainly use your cell phone. And my tip for you is to look for like a clean background, a clear background. Make sure it's not a selfie. Ask one of your colleagues, one of your family members to take a nice headshot for you. And I would say to start from making sure that we can see your full head, not cutting half of your head off, right? And we can at least see your shoulders, right? And so I have a couple of examples that I can show you guys at the end of the presentation this afternoon. And so I highly encourage all of you to submit a professional headshot, not a selfie, not a photo that you, one of your girlfriends took for you when you went to a party or a barbecue and things like that. Throughout the application process, we urge you guys to stay professional. And so as part of that is making sure that you can submit a professional headshot. And of course, we want to know about your current education level. Are you a high school senior? Are you a first year? Are you a freshman, a sophomore? Are you currently in graduate school? And so you'll select your current education level here. You also let us know if you are enrolled full-time or part-time. And if you guys have more questions about anything here, I'm happy to answer. And you also upload a transcript of grades. So one of the things that I always say to applicants is not to procrastinate the process of submitting your application, or at least to start gathering the information that you need in order for you to submit a successful application. And sometimes schools, they may take anywhere from 24 to 72 hours in order to give you an official transcript. And so I would say to get started on the process ahead of time so that you can upload everything that we are asking for. One thing that you'll notice here on our application is the asterisk. So anything with an asterisk is required. Unless you actually submit that or upload that file, you will not be able to proceed with submitting your scholarship application. So I would say create a folder, stay organized throughout the process. Create a folder on Google Hangout or on Microsoft or even on your desktop, and start putting together all of the documents that you need in order for you to submit an application for the scholarship. So on here, you'll go ahead and upload your most recent transcript. If you are currently in high school, then it will be a high school transcript. If you are an undergrad, it will then be an undergraduate transcript. And if you are currently enrolled in graduate school, then you'll go ahead and upload a transcript of your graduate courses or any semesters that you have already completed. And here we're also asking you for your high school information, your SAT scores, your ACT scores, the college that you are currently attending or you hope to attend, if you are currently a senior, if you are in graduate school, or if you're a senior in high school, you will then upload an acceptance letter or a tuition letter from the school that you are planning to attend. You also add here the number of hours that you've completed. So if you are a senior, I would then add 0. College and university GPA, if you are still in high school or you are transitioning from high school to undergraduate, I would then add 0. And when we go through your application, we'll know that you are currently a senior, and so you don't have a GPA. If you are enrolled in dual, if you're enrolled through a community college while you are in high school, I would say to also get those transcripts, to add all of that to your resume. Again, the more the merrier. So if you are currently taking any college classes, add all of the information to your application. Okay. And so if you are currently enrolled in college, you would then add your major. If you are a senior in high school transitioning to your university studies, you can then add your intended major. Okay. And here you'll be able to add your acceptance letter if you are transitioning from high school into college. If you are already enrolled in a graduate program or an undergraduate program, you will then submit your tuition bill statement when available. Okay. To continue on with the application, we also have a section for you to add your volunteering information. Many of you may be early on in your career, and so you may not have had any experience working in your intended major field or industry, or have not even had your first job. However, we encourage you to upload any community services that you have completed, whether it's remote, whether it's with an organization here in the state or in a different country. Again, this is your opportunity to show us, to let us know that you've been active in your community. You have certain topics that you are passionate about. So take the time here to either write, or you can upload a file with your volunteering information. Activities. Are you active in any extracurricular activities during the school year, or even at church? I've seen some applicants, they would add their any leadership titles that they have held in their church or in their community, or any school club or related school organizations. I would say make sure you add all of that information on here. You can add sports, music, I've mentioned before, associations, clubs. Make sure you list any extracurricular activities that you have completed or you are currently completing. Awards, honors. Have you received an award from your university? Have you received an award from school? Have you received an award from your community? We want to hear about it, right? So make sure that you take the time, you take the opportunity to go ahead and upload any awards and any honors, certifications that you've received, or certificate, that you have received from an organization, school, or even church. In addition, if you have been featured in articles, again, I would say to drop that link on here. We'll go ahead and check it out. If you have a PDF copy, even better, we'll go ahead and take a look at it, and certainly count that towards your not only your eligibility, but also to see how you've been able to display your leadership skills in your community as well as within your school. And we have 3 more things on here. So part of your application is a resume. I highly encourage you to upload a 1-page resume. However, if you've completed a number of extracurricular activities, I would say 2 pages and not more than that. Especially if you're in high school, you should be able to create a professional resume that can display what you've done in 1 page or 2 pages. Okay. If you are in graduate school, that's a bit different. If you are at a doctoral level, that's also a bit different because you may have been involved in research. You may have been involved in other activities that may be beneficial for you to add to your resume. However, if you have not had a lot of experiences in the field, I would say to keep your resume 1 to 2 pages maximum. All right. And so a recommendation letter. So I would say to reach out to a teacher, a supervisor, reach out to a colleague, someone that can elaborate on your leadership skills, right? Someone that can speak on some of the things that you've been able to accomplish, any challenges that they've seen that you have faced, and regardless of the challenge, you were determined to pursue your education. You were determined to be the first graduate in your family. So I would say to make sure you reach out in advance to those writing you that letter. And I would always say to have someone as a backup, right? Reach out in advance. And another tip that I have for you is to be careful who you are asking for that recommendation letter. So if you had a supervisor where you didn't get your work done, you didn't really meet your deadlines, didn't get to see your leadership skills, didn't get to see anything that you've done, they're probably not the best person for you to reach out to ask for that letter. Okay, so make sure when you reach out for a recommendation letter, the person can elaborate on what you've done, because what we want to see is that what you are saying, what you are mentioning on your application can match what somebody else can actually say about you and for you. And something that I've seen a lot, I've been with the scholarship program for about 4 years now, 3 going on 4 years now, or even maybe 5 years. A lot of the times applicants, so we've changed our application system. So now in order for you to be able to submit your application, you need to have everything with you, right? So if you're still missing a recommendation letter, you'll have to come back at a later time to work on the application and submit the application. So if you have reached out to a colleague, a supervisor, a teacher, a professor, and a mentor as well, a mentor and a sponsor, you've reached out to them, however, you have not heard back. It is your job as an applicant to follow up with them, okay? So if you've requested a letter from Mr. Jean, it is your job to follow up with Mr. Jean to say, hey, the deadline is April 9th. Is there a way for you to get that letter out to me by the 8th, the latest, right? And if they don't have the bandwidth, the capacity, or the availability to do that, I would highly encourage you to look within your network and reach out to someone else that may be able to provide that letter to you early on, okay? So just to go back, I just want to summarize everything that I've said here for the application. And lastly, you do have to click I agree, and you can go ahead and submit that application. All right. So if you have questions about your eligibility, you can go on our website here. You can read more about the eligibility criteria that we have established for participants. And if you have further questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We have a scholarship email that I'll share at the end to make sure we can answer your questions on time. And so you'll see here everything that is required of you, what the process looks like. Again, these are these things listed are everything that I have actually mentioned early on. And we have elaborated on the selection process. You'll actually get to hear more about that during the next sessions to come with our committee members. And so here, this is the email address that you can use to reach out to us if you have any specific question any questions, comments, concerns. You can reach out to us about the application. Again, I would say do not wait until April 9th at 11:50 p.m. By that time, I'll probably be sleeping already. I would say to reach out early. Reach out early. Plan ahead of time. We've already went through what the application entails. And so I would say part of what you're supposed to do as a potential applicant is to be responsible, right? Part of being a leader is to be responsible. So you are responsible for gathering your documents and submitting all of your documents on time. All right? So before I move on, I'll go over some of the quick tips that I've shared today. Your demographic information, make sure that it matches the information that your school has. So if your name is, I'll use my name as an example, Claslyne Doris Pierre, make sure that your school has Claslyne Doris Pierre. But if you added to the application Marie Jean Pierre, but on your school transcript, it says Claslyne Jean Pierre, then we'll start questioning what's happening, okay? If you've changed your last name, make sure that, again, all of the information, they are accurate, they are consistent. That is my quick tip for you. Your biography, make sure your biography is short, concise, and professional. And again, I'll use Molina's biography actually, because it is short. You'll see that she has a really nice headshot. That's what we consider to be a professional headshot. Your essay, be specific, stay focused on the topic, and tell us your story, right? We want to learn more about you and what you've been able to accomplish, regardless of the barriers and the challenges that you have faced in life. And it may also be challenges that your family members have faced, right? So for me, I'm a first-generation graduate. I've always been proud of it. And so I always take the opportunity to tell people that I'm a first generation, right? And so make sure that you request your transcript early on. If you have multiple transcripts, make sure that you request them very early. They'll procrastinate on the process. Your enrollment letter, your tuition letter, make sure you reach out to your school early on. Make sure you include all extracurricular activities as part of the application. Your resume, my recommendation is to keep it one page and not 1 to 2 pages. However, if you are a doctoral student going for a doctorate degree or a PhD, you may have more information to add to your resume. Then I would say maybe keep it at 3 pages max. And then your recommendation letters, ask for them in advance, and also follow up with your supervisors, your teachers, and make sure you also you have to be careful who you're actually reaching out to for that recommendation letter. So I'm actually going to navigate here to our leadership page where I can show you examples or an example of a professional headshot. So Molina is our awesome executive vice president. And as you can see here, this is what we consider to be a professional headshot. And here you can also see her biography. You'll see some of the things that she's currently doing. what she has done before, as well as her education. She has her education information, and any other association or professional entities that she is involved with, right? So there she added her bachelor's degree of science, her master's degree in physical therapy. You can create a short and concise biography. So you can check out our website for good examples of professional headshots and biographies that you can submit as part of your application. All right. And so I'm going to go back here to the scholarship, to our presentation here. I have a couple more general tips for you guys, and then we'll wrap up my component. And certainly, I wanted to make sure that I've allocated enough time, or I allocate enough time for you to answer any questions that you may have for me. So, general tips: do not procrastinate. I've seen many people that would wait until an hour before the deadline, 30 minutes before the deadline to reach out to ask a question. You will not be able to submit your application on time. So take the time, go on our website, read about the application, read about the component that we're asking you for, the deliverables that we're looking for, and start preparing on time. If you have to submit the application by 11:59 p.m. If you reach out at 11 p.m. Eastern time, I cannot guarantee that you receive a response before then. So do not procrastinate. Okay? Pay attention to details and requirements. I would say to read things twice. Read the prompt twice. Read your resume twice, right? Read your resume twice. Read the requirements. See what we're looking for. Check out our past scholars. We have a great page with past scholars. You can read about them. You can maybe even go on their LinkedIn. If you have questions, you might be able to reach out to them to ask them any questions that you may have. But do use that as a resource for you to be able to submit a successful scholarship application. All right. The third tip I have for you here is to complete the application in full. We just went over the application. Make sure you complete the application in its entirety, okay? The fourth general tip that I have for you is to give it a final once over before you submit your application. And so I recommended earlier that you create a Google folder or even a folder on Microsoft or on your desktop. Reach out to a colleague. Say, hey, I am submitting my application for the scholarship award through NAAHP. Can you take a look at my essay? Check for grammatical errors. Make sure that you are focused on the topic. Don't start talking about your leadership skills and then start talking about how you went on vacation last year, right? And so make sure that as you are drafting your essay, you stay focused. And sometimes, we get so passionate when writing that we may shift the topic a little bit, right? And that's why it's important for you to reach out to your circle, your network, a teacher, a mentor, a sponsor. Reach out to them and say, hey, can you please review my application? Have them review your biography, have them review your resume, have them review your essay, and anything else that you may have either doubt about or read the full application. Sometimes you might be able to find an error at the last minute, and so that is very helpful to you. Ask for help if you need it. I'm here. Do not hesitate to reach out to me via email. I have added my email at the end of the presentation here. I've also I gave you guys the scholarship email earlier. It is scholarship@naapusa.org. It is a general email that you can use to submit any questions that you have. You can use that email to submit any concerns you have. If you're having any technical difficulties, please reach out to us. If you are unsure of whether or not you meet the requirement, reach out to us. If you're unsure of anything, ask for help if you need it. Okay? Ask for help, reach out to us. We are active on social media. We're active on Facebook. We are active on LinkedIn. We're active on Instagram. You can also reach out to us through our social media outlets as well as our general email. And the last tip that I have for you guys this afternoon is to be professional. I cannot stress this enough. Stay professional from the beginning of the process and throughout the process and even at the end of the scholarship process. Being professional means not procrastinating, right? It means to be responsible. It means to be respectful. You have to be respectful when reaching out. You need to have your greetings. You need to have your questions. And if for any reason you've missed the deadline, you also have to be accountable, right? Keep yourself accountable. And if you've missed a deadline, I would say, you know what? Wait until the following year to submit your application. But I cannot stress this last one enough. Be professional. Be professional in anything you do, not even for the scholarship application. As a leader, you have to be professional. All right? And so these are some of the quick general tips that I have for you that you can apply not only for the scholarship application, you can actually apply that across many things throughout your career journey, your educational journey, and some more. All right, so we will actually move on to questions. I'll share this last slide here. Again, my name is Claslyne Doris Pierre, and I am the scholarship coordinator here at the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, also known as NAAHP. This is my email address. If you have any questions for me, do not hesitate to reach out. All right, so we can go ahead and get started with some of the questions that you guys may have. All right. Does this scholarship program extend within Canada? Thank you so much for your question. Actually, right now, the scholarship program is for scholars here in the U.S. However, I would say to continue to check our website because things may change in the future, but right now it is for U.S. applicants or scholars that are pursuing their education here in the United States. All right. The next question we have here says, I am an incoming law student scheduled to begin in August. I am currently not in school. Can I still apply? So I would actually say for you to still submit your application. Submit your application with your acceptance letter. Submit your application with your current transcript. So if you were in high school and you're now transitioning to graduate school or even undergrad, I would say use those transcripts. If you are also transitioning from undergrad to graduate, use your most recent transcript to apply for the program. And I would say take the opportunity, if there's a gap in your education, you can also take the time to talk about the gap, right? Talk about the gap that may exist either in your resume or even with your educational journey. The third question that we have here says, the scholarship is available for any area, is the scholarship available for any area of study? Pre-health, pharmaceutical, and pre-law? Yes. So the scholarship is available for any area of study, regardless of your industry. We highly encourage you to go ahead and apply. Thank you for that question. Is this only for Haitian American or can Haitian immigrants apply too? Haitian Americans, Haitian, you can apply for the application. Recently we had one of our scholars, they're pursuing their education with Madonna University. So you can be Haitian American, Haitian, we encourage you to apply. Take a look at the requirements that we have. If you meet those requirements, apply. If you're unsure whether you meet the requirement, reach out, as I've mentioned before. Okay? Thank you for your question. The next question we have says, in what grade do you have to be in order to apply for the scholarship? I would say starting from being a senior in high school, you are eligible to apply for the scholarship. Okay, so if you are a senior, if you are a junior also pursuing college credits within a university, apply for the scholarship. Okay, if you are, and I believe it's called dual enrollment. So if you are in dual, I believe it is called dual enrollment. So if you are pursuing a career or an education through a college or university while in high school, I would also encourage you to apply for that. Are unofficial transcripts acceptable? And if I am a first year in college, should I send in my undergrad transcript? Let me read that again, sorry. Are unofficial transcripts acceptable? Yes, it depends. And I would say based on your situation to reach out. If you are having financial difficulties with your school, I would say when you submit that unofficial transcript to elaborate on why you were not able to submit an official transcript. Can you actually go back to there was a second component to the question. All right, should I send in and if I am a first year in college, should I send in my undergrad transcript? Yes, so you should send to us your most recent transcript, whether it's undergrad, high school, graduate school. If it is the most recent, send it to us, all right? Or not send it to us, actually, I apologize, but submit it as part of your application. Thank you. Next question. Can they be unofficial? So they can be both official. However, we prefer official transcript. However, if you're having difficulties, if there are different reasons why you're unable to submit your official transcript, I would say to go ahead and submit your unofficial transcript, but do elaborate on the reason why you were unable to provide an official transcript. Thank you. So should the student be a high school senior this month or starting September 2021? So if you are graduating this year in May or in August, you are eligible to apply. Again, make sure you go through the application. We've listed everything we need from you. Your acceptance letter, your tuition letter. We're also asking you for a transcript. So submit your most recent transcript to us, okay? So if you are graduating later on this year and you plan to start college in August or in September, you can apply for the scholarship as well. I don't have an ACT or SAT score. I don't have ACT and SAT scores because at the time I had no plans of college. Can I still apply? And should I place an A in that part? So it also depends. So if your school or your college or university, if they don't require you to have SAT and ACT scores and you've already been accepted, upload your acceptance letter. And so I would write as part of the application, I would just note, I didn't take the SAT scores or the ACT scores. I've just decided to go to school. I have my acceptance letter. I'm ready to enroll. I will start my classes. I know the industry or my area of study. Upload that acceptance letter. Okay? If you didn't have any scores, if you're just now thinking about going back to school and some of these things you don't have, if you have an acceptance letter, that would also help us understand that you're not just submitting the application to submit it, but you have an actual plan to pursue an education. Okay? How far back should the volunteer experience document? Within the past year, and would the tuition bill statement be for this past spring 2021? If you volunteered 10 years ago, add that to your resume, add that to your application. It doesn't matter how long ago you did it. If you did it, it is still valid. All right. And would the tuition bill statement be for this past spring 2021? No, it actually has to be forward. So it would be for the fall semester. It would also be for spring. So summer, it could be for summer of 2021, fall 2021, and spring 2022. Thank you for that question. What if you did not take the ACT or SATs? As I've mentioned before, if you were not required to take the ACT test or the SAT test, however, you've already been accepted to a program, upload that recommendation letter on write a brief paragraph. I apologize. Write a brief paragraph to let us know that you did not have to take the ACT or the SAT. However, you've already been accepted into a graduate program or an undergraduate program. So upload your acceptance letter. Okay. Who can provide a recommendation letter on our behalf? Great question. So a supervisor, teacher, mentor, sponsor, advisor, anyone that have seen your leadership skills, anyone that has supervised you. Obviously, we don't want your best friend submitting that application because they may just be a bit biased. We don't want your sister submitting it, However, I would recommend that you reach out to colleagues, a teammate. You worked on a team project together. Hey, I'm applying for the scholarship. I'm looking for a recommendation letter. Would you be kind enough to submit that application or that recommendation letter on my behalf? They can write it, sign it, send it to you, and you can submit it. So supervisor, manager, advisor, teacher, professor, they can all submit. Church leaders. I've seen a lot of letters from church leaders. I've seen letters from sponsors, whether it is a professional development sponsor or a financial sponsor. They can also submit a letter on your behalf. Okay. Next question here says, the summer semester is my final semester. Will this be applied in time if I am selected, or will the funds be applied for the upcoming 2021 fall semester? So if the summer is your last semester, you can still apply for the scholarship. Again, we're closing the scholarship deadline is April 9th. And so we encourage you to apply early, right? Apply early. Once we review the applications, if you are selected, we usually process the funds. Once we select the scholar, we usually process the funds within 2 to 3 weeks. So you would actually be able to still use those funds towards your summer semester. And if you've already started your summer semester before we can disperse the funds, go ahead and upload or send us your tuition bill saying that you've already paid. And if you are selected, you would still receive that reimbursement. And so the scholarship. And so what I've seen that schools would do is that if you've already paid for the semester, but then you were selected, because we don't give the money directly to scholars, we actually send the funds to their schools. So your school would probably then refund you something that you've paid. If you've paid out of pocket, they would refund you. If you've paid with financial aid, they would most likely process a refund. But that is something that I would say for you to look into and reach out to the financial department within your educational institution. Okay? But that was a really great question. I would not have completed my semester by the deadline of the scholarship. My last school was an ESL school. Can I submit my transcript from that school? So the question is a bit unclear. However, if that last semester that you are talking about, you are a junior or a senior in high school, I would say to submit that transcript. Okay, I would say if you completed your high school education, for some reason you took a break and you went to ESL school. I'm not sure what the situation is. Each situation is unique, so I would say to maybe reach out and I can provide more of a one-on-one advice. But whatever that last transcript is, for an ESL, it wouldn't really help. We're looking for high school transcripts, we're looking for undergraduate transcripts, but not so much of an ESL transcript. So whatever that last transcript is for you, whether it's undergrad or graduate, that's what I would submit if I were you. The next question we have here says, should we just list the activities or include a description of them too? The more, the merrier, right? So as you guys may know, or if you didn't know, we have an annual conference. And so if you have volunteered in our annual conference, I would say, I would write, again, if you're adding that as part of your resume, there's a way to format it, right? If you are uploading, if you are referring to that one sheet document that I mentioned with the volunteering and the extracurricular activities, I would create, again, a really nice document. And what I recommend that everyone does is that you can create a letterhead for yourself. So you would have your name, Claslyne Doris Pierre. You maybe have your address as part of the letterhead, and then you can add volunteering activities. You can then add the name of the institution or organization. You can add a brief description of the organization. You can also add a brief description of your task or your results or the outcomes. What are some of the outcomes as a result of your volunteering hours, right? And then you can maybe add a contact information, or you can just say references available upon request. So I would say, to elaborate, the more we can understand where you've been able to use your leadership skills, the better. So the more, the merrier. Again, keep it concise, keep it consistent with everything that you are submitting throughout the application. All right. Moving on now to another question we have. It says, I went to high school in Haiti. We don't have GPA like the US. We were graded out of 10. Can I submit those? I also went to school in Haiti, born and raised in Haiti, right? I understand the education system really well. And so we also take that into consideration. Submit your transcript. Submit that transcript. And so we're able to understand. There are services where you can actually go to have your transcript be evaluated. I would say to maybe look into one of these services. Look into these services where they can translate your transcript for you. It would then tell us what the equivalent is, based on the U.S. system as well as the Haiti system. So 9 out of 10, or so for moyenne neuf, I believe that would be an A, right? If it was a 7 and an 8, that may be a B. So I would say to look into these services. That's one. But second, I've seen people from Haiti apply. Sometimes I've seen they've applied when they've already started their school here in the U.S. So they have used their most recent transcript. So if the last school you attended was in Haiti, then I would say to try as much as you can to translate your grades into what we're looking for here in the U.S. You don't have to make up a GPA, though. You don't have to make up a GPA. And the next few sessions that we'll have, our committee members will actually walk you guys through some of the criteria, how we grade them, how we choose the scholars, and we award 5 scholars. They'll go into, the criteria they use. So your GPA is not the only one, right? Like sometimes, I've seen people with a 5.0 GPA. However, they're not able to translate their work, their leadership skills, so it's more than your GPA actually. Be able to really tell us why you should receive the scholarship and why you're a leader, okay? Again, if you have more questions about that, I'm happy to answer that directly. Feel free to email me. Feel free to send an email to our scholarship email. All right. The next question we have here says, the GPA requirement is 3.2, while my GPA for my MPH is 3.7. I'm currently in med school where my GPA is under a 3.0. Can I still apply? So, I would need a little bit more information. So if I understand correctly, you've already completed an MPH, and you are in pursuing your medical degree. If you are pursuing your medical degree and your GPA is less than the 3.0, the 3.2, you would then not be qualified for it. However, if you are pursuing an MPH with an MD degree, I would still say for you to apply. I would still say for you to apply. Again, if you need more information, feel free to email me. Feel free to reach out to us. The next question here says, I am currently in a community college, but I will be attending a 4-year college in June. Which one should I list as number 1 in the application? Great question. Number 1, I would list my community college because the deadline is April 9th. I would, in addition to uploading your transcript from the community college, I would also submit my acceptance letter to the 4-year college in June. That's what I would do, and that's my advice for you. All right, and what is the amount of the scholarship? The amount of the scholarship is $1,000 per applicant, and it's non-renewable. So it's $1,000 for that one. It's a one-time scholarship, right? So 5 of the scholars that will be chosen for the scholarship will receive $1,000 each. All right. Let me see if I have missed any other questions because I know someone actually wanted to know what does this scholarship covers for students. Again, when we disperse the funds, we send them directly to your school. They can be used for books. I know back when I was in college, I've used my any scholarship that I've had towards my book expenses. I've actually gone to the bookstore on campus, and where I would actually purchase my books, and they have a setup where you don't have to pay out of pocket, or with a card. You can use your student ID, you can use your social or your first and last name to pay directly. So I would say that the scholarship would cover anything that your school allows. So if you are able to pay for your books on campus, you can use that. If not, it would go towards tuition and the cost of pursuing an education. All right. Well, it's been fun being here with you guys. I thank you for the wonderful questions that you've asked. I thank you for attending this 1-hour info session on how to submit an effective scholarship application. I hope that the tips and advices that I've offered today, they were helpful for you. And if you have other questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. We've provided my email address to you on the chat box. But if for any reason you've missed it, I would say to go online, go on our website, find that scholarship email on our scholarship page, reach out to us on Facebook and on LinkedIn. We are here for you. We're here to assist you, every single step of the way. And once again, thank you so much. My name is Claslyne Doris Pierre. I am the scholarship coordinator here at the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, otherwise known as NAAHP. It's been a pleasure. Please do reach out if you have any other questions. Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend and your week, and stay safe.